Hey guys, it's me, Gabriel, your young healer and leader of the Wolfpack, coming to you, the Benevolent Wolfpack. Better get specific. Coming to you with that evening spark about the meaningless war. So, war seems, or peace seems pretty impossible while we look on war. And a lot of times, in all honesty, the wars that we have within ourselves are that we see about ourselves are internal. But there's many things that seem to be going wrong in this world. From mass shootings to war in the east, war brewing in the north. Just a lot of chaos. And it seems like, how can there be peace? How can peace be possible in this world? And I think it's a matter of shifting your perspective and shifting your thought and your judgment about the world. So, what I mean by all that is that, for one, anger, while you have anger in your heart and you find that it is justified, you will not see peace. That's kind of the litmus test. For peace is the condition for God's will, and that by attaining it, you then in turn remember Him. So He can only be remembered while there is peace. That's why Jesus was really big on it. Like, for instance, when when he cut the ear off the Roman guard, and Jesus, went on to say, then going to heal the guy, he who lives by the sword dies by the sword. So when you have this life of war, peace seems to just be impossible. But yet peace is inevitable to those who offer it. And so I think what leads to that is forgiveness. And what then leads to what helps forgiveness then, kind of backtracking, peace is the end goal. And so then it's important, in order to forgive, there's multiple aspects to it that I've recognized. Is one, when it's unto people who may be offending you or something to that effect, it's recognizing, I think, largely that what they do to you cannot hurt you and that you don't hold it against them. It, in a sense, elevates your thinking to a higher level, recognizing that pettiness, that doesn't define you, and you take away the teeth of this attack, whatever it may be, from a coworker, a friend, family member, loved one, whatever. And you recognize the illusion, and what's more is you don't side with the person's illusion and then in turn attacking yourself with them, because that's insane. But also equally hindering is the dynamic of attacking them to bring them down to you, because by that you have basically said, you have hindered my worth and deprived me, and as such I must bring you down to my level. But again, that violates what we just talked about, how what you do cannot hurt me and I don't hold it against you. That's turning the other cheek at its finest. That's in a sense what it means. And so with that, when we establish that, and another part is about being still, and this is in the forgiving dynamic, being still, judging not, or being still, waiting. What do I have? What's it say? Be still, look, wait, and judge not. Got the spiritual note up there. So yeah, so being still, looking, waiting, and judging not. It doesn't have to necessarily be in that order, but again, so then we get to judgment then. And a lot of times our judgment is based off of an interpretation. Ergo, it can be wrong. And when it ever leads to anger, you can be sure that it was. One thing that can help in reconciling and keeping our anger in check is recognizing that no happiness can result from our anger. So if there's no happiness that can result from it, there's no gain that can be had from it, it takes away the utility and the desire for which to do it. And so then with the judgment dynamic, really we should forego our sense of judgment and allowing the Holy Spirit to be the one in control, looking to Him for our judgment. And our judgment really should be that God's Son is guiltless and sin does not exist. Coupled with that is the final judgment of holy are you, eternal, free, and whole, at peace forever in the heart of God. Where is the world, and where is sorrow now? Those two dynamics, those are like the two aspects of judgment that we should have within ourselves, and then in turn you inevitably will, that's what you're going to offer. And if you're not offering that, by the measure for which we condemn our brother is the measure for which we condemn ourselves. Now you might be wondering, like, how the hell does this all relate to the meaningless war and being able to see peace? What I would say is, you've got to be willing to do these things first in order to get to the peace. And then that's when you can really start working with the peace of God. Because the peace of God is some cool stuff, friends. Because what it revolves around is forgiving the world, and understanding that everything that God created cannot have an end, and nothing that He did not create is real. So because everything He created is real, and so this war is not necessarily the truth. We don't have to give it that power over us, and we can heal. We can offer that prayer of healing and love in peace and shifting our perception. It doesn't mean that it leads us to apathy or anger. Really, definitely not anger. And it doesn't lead us to act in a brash manner. But I think what it does is it shifts our perspective in the way that we need to go. And so, with it, I mean, here's the thing. The mighty gift of God Himself, the mighty will of God Himself, that's His gift to you, that peace of God. And recognizing that you are whole and complete within yourself. And you don't have to feel like this deprived person, because you can be deprived of nothing. See, the war, like I was saying, outside is often the war within. So when you can shift that, it doesn't mean you fall to apathy, but that you don't fall to despair, because that won't do anybody any good. And He doesn't seek to keep it from you and for Himself. So why then are we willing to try and keep our frail imaginings apart from Him? See, I think a big part to our lacking of healing of our heart and the peace that, that inner turmoil, is that there's parts of our life that we don't want to have Him involved in. It's like a lot of us, really, there's this would be for another evening spark. I feel like, from mausoleum to mansion, because a lot of us live in mausoleums of ghosts, and ghosts of past things haunting us, past relationships and stuff. And so, we invite God, but there's certain things, certain rooms, certain aspects of our life that we close off. But by that's when we get the conflict, the inner turmoil. By letting Him into our life in every aspect, rolling with Him, jamming with Him, and recognizing that God gives only for good. He only gives for our benefit, and that everything is for our benefit. And so then when we recognize that, we're able to see things in a different perspective. We're more open to be willing. We're more open to how things may need to go, and not so much it has to go this way or that. So there's a certain sort of giving up of expectations and outcomes to the specifics of it has to be X, Y, and Z, but rather more open to the themes and the essence of what makes you happy. Like, you may like to go outdoors, or you may like to travel, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go on these extravagant trips. You can still find that experience within your local environment, so to speak. But whatever floats everybody's boat. So, the heart of all this is that when we are able to embrace that peace of God, recognizing ourselves as those co-creators with Christ, as co-inheritors, and recognizing that Christ within us, we are able to see that the universe beyond the sun and stars and all the things and all the thoughts of which you can conceive, they belong to you. Because, like I said, God's peace is the condition for His will. And that if you attain when you obtain His peace, you remember Him. And then what's cool about all this is that you give and you offer unto people as you have given. So in order for you to give that peace, for the war to become meaningless, and shifting your perspective, it's so important to be able to recognize that first within yourself. And like I was saying this morning in the morning boost, the day you have expected unto you will be the day that comes before you. And this is the dynamic, I think, that will help carry you along the way, along your day, to ensure that it stays that happy and peaceful day that you can then give unto others. So that's what I got for you. I think that sums it up. We're talking for a hot minute. But yeah, let's go forward with that, and let's really see what comes of it. Let's try to help make the wars in our life a little bit more meaningless. And that way the true peace of God can come onto us and to everyone. So here at the Wolfpack, we surely wish you well, and Godspeed. Peace, friends.